So here we are, Saturday morning, defence of Paris, 1814. This is a what-if scenario for our In the Grand Manner weekends. The Allies, the Army of Bohemia, are to the south of Paris, and over there to the north of Paris itself is the Army of Silesia. So we have a number of French corps and the Paris garrison deployed here to stave off the attack of the Army of Bohemia and Silesia. Now originally the scenario was designed for a 360 battle, so the Army of Silesia would be coming in from the north. So there's a slight adaptation on my part where I've taken out a third of the Allied army, which is the Army of Silesia, along with a portion of the French army deemed to be fighting in the northern suburbs of Paris, and created a battle in its own right, much like I do with Leipzig, where I have Markkleeberg and Wachau as a battlefield for the Army of Bohemia against the French garrison of Dresden. Leipzig, I beg your pardon. So what that means is that we do have the option of some reinforcement, where the battle in the north isn't going quite the way of the French, or indeed it's going the way of the French, and there are some French reserves that can come in from Paris itself, from the north. So there are some reinforcements for both sides. And here we can see part of the Army of Silesia, because we played all day Friday. I forgot to mention that. We played all day Friday yesterday, and at the end of Friday we had 3 of the divisions that they could get for reinforcement coming in from the east, and one of them was still following on, so they've got all their reserve on, and the French have had something similar. So we've got Guard Cavalry Brigade, Corps with non-Souti, and we've got the Imperial Guard Infantry. The Allied army comprises of a bit of a mix as well, with it being a what-if, and these are battalions that don't really get out very often. So this is the Bavarian Guard Grenadiers, painted by Doug Mason, not a bad little outfit. And the Raiders Corps. Pressing in on the French. And in the centre here, the Russian Guard Grenadier Division that's been released from reserve is moving up to attack this large suburb of Paris. And in the centre there, we've got the Russian Guard Division coming through the woods, looking to pick up the fight in the centre here versus the French in the suburbs. We've had a bit of a fight here all day yesterday. Wittgenstein was desperately trying to get a foothold in the suburbs here, in this burnt out church. The French managed to repulse them in the end. They brought in some of the French battalions were actually getting stuck into the supports, so it kind of weakened the hold of Wittgenstein in that area. And then we've got Württemberg's corps with, oddly enough, his contingent of Württembergers. There's a bit of an eclectic mix of troops within this corps. So we have Württembergers, Swiss, I beg your pardon, not Swiss, Kleefberg. We are using Swiss in lieu of Baden troops. I do have Baden on the way, but they're not quite here just yet. Please don't hate me, audience. Right, and then we've got the Austrians. So Jeweller's Corps and the Austrian Cavalry Reserve under Nostitz. Some very nice Austrian Uhlans done by my little mate Doug Mason. And also the Württembergers there. The ones at the front corner there are a range of figures that you don't usually see very often. They're a company, Firing Line Miniatures, which are a subsidiary of Connoisseur Miniatures, which is in turn a subsidiary of Bicorn, I believe. So if you look at the Bicorn website, you'll see these little Württembergers, and they are absolutely delightful. Obviously not the skirmisher, I'll get him out of the way. But these fellas, they come with separate heads. So you get a little bit of movement in them. And they're a lovely cast, absolutely gleaming. I'll show you some more Firing Line stuff when I come around again. So this is Jeweller's chaps, trying to turn in on the French right. And then we've got the ferry, which is in this space here, which is Auteuil and St Cloud. If they capture both ends of the ferry, it's a massive negative on the morale of the French garrison. So they'll lose -1 for the morale on the French for each side of the ferry. So it's something the French do want to hold on to. There's those little Firing Line chaps again. Mr. Bicorn Miniatures, if you're listening, I'd like a trade deal, please. And these are painted by my dad. God bless him. Quite a few years ago. I can't rebase them yet because he based them. I'm going to base them later. I'll come back round here. I want to show you these Firing Line Miniatures, these additional cavalry that we've got, where one of the guys has pulled out a Württemberg, because they're quite big on their Württembergers. This is a new, well, not a new edition, these are repaired vignette of the famous painting on the mural in Waterloo of Ney leading the cavalry charges with his friend Lavoisier and the aide-de-camp whose name escapes me, unfortunately. Apologies. And then we come to this little fella, another little vignette. Now both these figures are Firing Line Miniatures, and my friend Julian Waits did the whole work on these, and they don't come with a police, but I gave Julian a couple of these plastic polices, and you know, it looked like they were meant to be. So we've transformed them from chasseurs to hussars, and I think you'll agree, well, for me anyway. Oh, let's get it steady, sorry. The horses are fabulous, and the figures themselves are just lovely. I am doing this at arm's length, guys. It's challenging my muscle and keeping it level. So I'm resting it on the table now. But they're lovely. Really, really nice figures. And these little fellas here were painted by my friend Chris Cornwall. They're Jaeger Souffert. Now they come as, you can buy them as Chevalier. Again, they're all Bicorn miniature horses. Sorry, Bicorn miniature, Firing Line Miniatures. But you'll buy them from Bicorn. So yeah, they're well worth a look. Castings are crisp, like they're brand new. It's quite a good look to them. So that's about it for Saturday morning. I'm gonna clock off and I'll do something at lunchtime, show you where they all are. Thanks for listening.